finding your own profession. It is difficult because not only do we want to have a job that we would be good at and could reach a high career, we also want to feel passionate about it. And finding a job so perfectly suited for your own needs, well, it's quite of a task actually. And I have some news for you, especially for the high school students. This is how many of you are going to fail at this test. Because studies taken every year show that up to 20% is the average amount of college or university graduates who state that they work in fields unrelated with their finished studies. Which means that every fifth high school student is going to pick a study program that he or she is not going to use in the future. Sounds daunting, doesn't it? But I didn't call it bad news. Maybe some of those 20% did change their jobs because they couldn't find any or didn't get paid enough. But others simply came up with new possibilities, new opportunities in other fields, and should be perceived as a failure just because they are working something that doesn't match their education. Well, I certainly do not think so. I don't even think that a perfect profession exists. What I do believe in is a multidisciplinary thinking. It is a mindset of acquiring a set of various and often different skills and later on combining them together to achieve new goals and possibilities that you can reach with a single skill alone. I believe that this is the future, and with my short story, I would like to share with you of how I learned about it. My story begins when I was 6 years old. One evening, a little kindergartner Simon with our white pajamas looked at my mom with a straight face and told her, "I'm going to become a doctor when I grow up." Of course, she just laughed at first because I was a little kid talking about medicine. But what started as a joke at first, in the upcoming years, started to look as a reality because my grades were great, my parents liked the prospect of me becoming a doctor someday, and so did I. I thought that, well, this is a decent profession, and this is probably going to be my future. Until one fateful day, I learned about a study program called Multimedia Technologies. This study program was supposed to teach you many things, but few of those were animation, editing, filming, and other film-related skills. And until then, I was too hung up on the idea of becoming a doctor that I couldn't see that my true passion wasn't medicine. It was actually making silly films like these masterpieces. As you can see, I had no sense of shame back then. But what I did have was passion. Passion to film, to edit, to create, and even act like a fool every once in a while, just by doing it. What did I feel when thinking about medicine? I did feel support from everyone around me. I did see a clear and bright future in front of me from the career perspective, but I also felt boredom and lack of interest compared with what I felt just by thinking about filmmaking. So I decided to listen to my heart and refuse a prestigious profession for an unclear but ever so interesting future in filmmaking. And the funny thing with starting to listen to your heart is that once you give it a chance, it never stops speaking to you and keeps on revealing new possibilities. I understood quite fast because to get into multimedia, I required an informatics exam. And until then, I wasn't a computer high, I haven't done programming at all, but after a few lessons I saw that I'm quite good at it, and after more time, I saw that I could even pursue a career in computer science. So let's take a look at this. If I hadn't listened to my heart and chosen filmmaking instead of medicine, I would have never seen that I am good at programming. But okay, now I wanted to do both. I wanted to study computer science, but my passion for filmmaking was still there. But I couldn't do both, and even if I could, would make sense jumping around, doing a bit of everything but never mastering anything until the end. Like people say, jack of all trades, but a master of none. I'd say that this is absolutely the other way around. Multidisciplinary multidisciplinary thinking has been around for ages. We can see examples even from the very early Greek philosophers who weren't just existential thinkers, but they were also mathematicians, physicists, astronomers. The very word philosophy actually means love of wisdom, love of knowledge, just being interested in everything. We can see examples of combinations of various different fields even today. Biggest technological achievements are combinations of many disciplines, from computer science to arts, humanities, social sciences. And of course it would be a shame not to mention the biggest jack of all trades, Leonardo da Vinci. He was a painter as well as a sculptor, an engineer, and even a scientist. And his broad knowledge made him the artist that he was. For example, by deepening his knowledge in math, he learned about geometric proportions that make paintings more pleasant to our eyes. Another example, his interest in human anatomy, in how we are built. He was so fascinated with our bodies that he even did dissections, the action of cutting open their human bodies just to study their structure. In the end, his knowledge in proportions in human anatomy combined with his artistic side made him the artist that he was, and if not for that, we probably wouldn't even have Mona Lisa as beautiful as she is right now. As Leonardo said, realize that everything connects to everything. So when I was in 12th grade, I did try to realize something like that and came up with a solution. I enrolled in computer science studies, but at the same time decided to work as a freely hired filmmaker and photographer. At first it was a bit hard, but with a little bit of time planning and will, powered by my motivation for both of the fields, I managed to learn new skill and also deepen my knowledge in my existing skills of photography, filmmaking, and deepen my design knowledge. And unexpectedly, this combination of design and programming later on led me to my current career path of front-end programming, which is programming web designs, essentially. Since then, I've kept my heart open for any new passions that came to my life, from such simple things as taking an extra class in social sciences or business, or to more extravagant examples like coming up with a startup idea. But is this way of life for everyone? Maybe some of you are just not thinking about becoming a multidisciplinary thinker. Maybe you want to pick a specific area and master it until the end, until you become, well, the master. If that's what you really want, then of course go for it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to pursue to do everything. I am, although, trying to pursue to do everything that you are passionate about. And even though people say that you should find a job you love and then you will never have to work it in your life, I don't think that a specific job so perfect exists. But I believe that we could try to achieve it by doing all the jobs we love. Then we may not have to work a day in our lives. Of course, it is easier said than done, and you will face challenges, you will face failures. And failure has a tendency to make you doubt your decisions, question your path, or trust others more than yourself. However, the only person whose criticism you should actually care about is you. And the only way for you not to criticize yourself is to truly believe in your decisions, which can only be achieved by truly listening to your heart and doing whatever it tells you, no matter how difficult, unrelated together, or misunderstood by others your decisions may seem at first. But when you do, your passions will reveal you new possibilities that you've never even thought of before. Thank you.